Chosen ones, what I'm about to reveal may amaze you, even leave you stunned. If you're here watching this right now, it's no coincidence. You've been guided here by divine forces because a powerful shift is unfolding in your life. Your silence is becoming your greatest weapon. That's right. What once overwhelmed and haunted you is now bending to your will. They tried to break you, but you refused to fall. They tried to provoke you, but you refused to react. Now, your silence is speaking louder than words, confusing those who underestimated you. This isn't just a change in thinking. It's a profound spiritual and energetic awakening. As a chosen one, you are entering a phase where your energy alone will shift the atmosphere, and your silence will expose, disarm, and elevate you above the noise. But to harness this power fully, you need to understand the process. Before we dive into this transformative message, I want you to pause for a moment and do three things. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment with the number 77. This number carries a unique spiritual vibration that will amplify the energy of this video and your journey. And remember, if you are truly one of the chosen, you'll feel compelled to stay until the very end because your spirit already knows this message is meant for you. Those who aren't ready may not make it through, but for those who do, this could change your life forever. Let's begin. The first sign that silence is your strength is that you stay calm under pressure. They have tried to provoke you. They have thrown insults, accusations, and distractions your way, hoping for a reaction. They want you to lose control, to explode in anger, to match their chaos with your own. But instead, you pause. You reflect. You move in wisdom rather than emotion. This confuses them because they are used to controlling others through manipulation, but you do not give them that power. Most people are conditioned to react immediately. They believe that defending themselves, proving their point, or retaliating is the only way to assert power. But the chosen ones operate differently. You understand that true strength is not found in the loudest voice, but in the stillness of self-mastery. Silence under pressure is not avoidance. It is strategy. It is choosing to let wisdom speak louder than words. Proverbs 29 verse 11 says, "A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it until afterwards." The world teaches that speaking your mind at every moment is a sign of confidence, but wisdom reveals the opposite. A person who is quick to anger, who reacts emotionally to every provocation, becomes predictable and easy to manipulate. Those who lack discipline can be controlled by the right triggers, but the chosen ones move with discernment. You have likely experienced situations where people push your buttons, waiting for you to react. They've baited you with words, actions, or passive-aggressive behavior, hoping to elicit an emotional response. But instead of taking the bait, you remain composed. At first, they may have been frustrated. They may have accused you of being weak, of not caring, of being too quiet. But over time, your silence unsettled them. It forced them to face their own insecurity, their own lack of control. This is because your refusal to engage robbed them of their ability to control the narrative. In Luke 6 verse 28, Jesus teaches, "Bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you." This is not because you are meant to be passive or allow mistreatment, but because responding with grace and wisdom places you in a position of power. It prevents your enemies from dictating your emotions, and it keeps your mind clear enough to see their true intentions. Remaining calm under pressure is not easy. It requires patience, discipline, and a deep understanding of your worth. It means choosing to respond rather than react. When you are emotionally reactive, you're easily manipulated. But when you remain silent, you force the situation to reveal itself. You observe rather than engage, and in doing so, you gain the upper hand. Imagine a roaring fire. If you throw fuel onto it, it will grow, becoming more intense and destructive. But if you remove the fuel, the fire dies out on its own. Your silence does the same. When you refuse to add fuel to the chaos, you allow it to burn out. Those who sought to provoke you are left frustrated, powerless in their attempts to get a rise out of you. Think of Jesus when he stood before Pontius Pilate. He was falsely accused, mocked, and questioned, and yet he remained silent. Pilate himself was amazed at his lack of response. Jesus knew the truth, and he knew that words were not necessary. His silence carried more power than any argument could. This is the level of wisdom and control the chosen ones must embrace. Silence does not mean you do not care. It does not mean you are afraid. It means you understand the value of your energy. It means you refuse to waste your breath on those who are not ready to hear the truth. There will be times when people will misunderstand you, when they will demand explanations that you do not owe them. They will test you, waiting to see if they can break your composure. And when you do not react, they will be left confused, even fearful, because they cannot decipher your thoughts. This is where your power lies. When you learn to hold your peace, you force others to reveal who they truly are. People who thrive on drama will grow restless in your silence. Those who seek to manipulate will lose their ability to influence you. Even your enemies will become uncertain of how to approach you because they cannot predict your response. Your ability to remain calm under pressure is a divine gift. It protects you from unnecessary battles. It preserves your mental and spiritual energy. It allows you to move with wisdom, ensuring that when you do speak, your words carry weight. If you have noticed yourself responding with peace rather than anger, comment calm below. This is your confirmation. You are not losing your voice. You are gaining control over it. Your silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of strength. But there is more. Your calmness is only the first layer of your power. The next sign will reveal an even deeper truth. The moment you realize that not every battle requires your explanation. Stay with me, because what comes next will transform the way you approach every challenge in life. The second sign is that you don't feel the need to explain yourself. They demand justification. They want to know why you have changed, why you no longer engage in their drama, why their words seem to roll off your shoulders instead of piercing through. They want an explanation for your growth, your elevation, your refusal to play the same games they once trapped you in. But here's the truth. You do not owe anyone an explanation for following your divine path. For so long, you may have felt the need to defend yourself, to explain your decisions, to make others understand why you are choosing a different way. Maybe you have spent hours trying to articulate why you no longer tolerate certain behaviors, why you are distancing yourself from people who do not align with your purpose, why your focus has shifted from pleasing others to fulfilling the assignment God has placed on your life. But then, something changed. You realize that no matter how much you explain, no matter how much you try to make them see, some people will never understand because they are not meant to. Jesus himself remained silent when questioned by those who sought to condemn him. In Matthew 27 verses 12 to 14, when the chief priests and elders accused him, he answered nothing. Even when Pilate pressed him, urging him to speak, he remained silent. And the Bible says that Pilate marveled greatly. Why? Because silence in the face of false accusations is powerful. It confuses those who expect a reaction. It unsettles those who believe they have control over you. When you refuse to explain yourself to those who will never understand your journey, you maintain your peace and your power. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you become untouchable. They can accuse, they can assume, they can spread rumors and twist the truth. But none of it matters because you are no longer living for their approval. You are walking in divine confidence. This transition is not always easy. There will be moments when you will be tempted to defend yourself, to correct the false narratives, to make them see who you truly are. But wisdom teaches otherwise. In Proverbs 26 verse 4 it says, "Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him." There are battles that do not require your energy. There are arguments that do not deserve your words. And there are people whose opinions should never dictate your actions. Think about a lion walking through the wilderness. It does not stop to explain itself to barking dogs. It does not lower itself to the noise of lesser creatures. It moves with authority, knowing that its presence alone is enough. This is how the chosen ones operate. You do not need to announce your power. It speaks for itself. People who demand explanations are often the same ones who never intended to understand you in the first place. They don't actually want clarity. They want control. They want to pull you into endless conversations, to drain your energy with debates that go nowhere, to keep you tied up in justifications while they continue living as they please. But chosen ones know the difference between a genuine question and a manipulative demand. There will be those who say you have changed, that you have become distant, different, unrecognizable. And they are right. You have transformed. You have shed the need for validation. And in doing so, you have stepped into a higher dimension of power. The things that used to trigger you no longer have access to your spirit. The words that once kept you up at night now dissolve before they can reach your soul. You are no longer the same, and that is exactly how it was meant to be. Silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. When you explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you, you waste breath that could be used for your elevation. When you engage in arguments with people who have already made up their minds about you, you give them a seat at a table they were never meant to sit at. There is a peace that comes with knowing you do not have to prove yourself to anyone, that your worth is not up for debate, that your path is between you and God, not between you and the opinions of those who do not walk with you. In Isaiah 30 verse 15 it says, "In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Your power is not found in proving your point. It is found in knowing that you do not need to." Look back at the times in your life when you tried to explain yourself, when you poured energy into convincing others of your intentions. Did it bring you peace? Or did it leave you exhausted, frustrated, and questioning your own worth? Now, think about the times you remained silent, when you let your actions speak, when you walked away instead of arguing, when you allowed God to be your defender instead of wasting energy on people who would never truly listen. Which version of you was more powerful? If you have realized that you no longer need validation from others, comment power below. This is your confirmation. You are stepping into a season where your silence will confuse those who once thought they had access to your mind, where your lack of explanation will unsettle those who believed they could manipulate your emotions. But this is just the beginning. The next sign will reveal an even deeper level of wisdom. The moment you recognize that not every conversation deserves your voice. These first two signs are just the beginning. What I'm about to reveal next will make it clear why your silence is the ultimate strategy for overcoming manipulation, avoiding distractions, and protecting your energy. Before we continue, make sure your notifications are turned on. There are more powerful messages coming, and you don't want to miss the next revelation that could be the final piece to your transformation. Let's move on. The third sign is that you observe more than you speak. While others fill the air with meaningless chatter, trying to prove their worth with words, you remain still. You are watching, listening, noticing the small details that everyone else overlooks. While they get lost in the noise, you are reading between the lines, deciphering motives, and recognizing patterns that reveal the truth. They think they can deceive you. They believe that if they talk long enough, they can manipulate your perception. They do not realize that while they are busy constructing illusions, you are silently dismantling them. Your gift is not just hearing words. It is seeing intentions. This is why they cannot lie to you. It is why they cannot disguise their true nature, no matter how well they play their role. In Ecclesiastes 3 verse 7, it says, "A time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak." The chosen ones understand this balance. You are not silent because you have nothing to say. You are silent because you are collecting information, gaining wisdom, and choosing your words with purpose. The world has trained people to speak first and think later, to react before they reflect. But you have mastered the art of holding your tongue until the right moment. Have you ever noticed how people underestimate the quiet ones? How they assume that silence means ignorance. They mistake your lack of words for a lack of awareness. This is their greatest mistake, because by the time they realize that you've been paying attention, it is already too late. You have gathered all the insight you need. You have seen what they tried to hide. You have understood their weaknesses, their desires, their true selves. And when you finally choose to speak, every word will carry weight. Every response will be sharp. Every truth will be undeniable. This level of wisdom is not common. Most people are desperate to be heard, to make their presence known, to fill the space with their opinions. They believe that dominance is in volume, that control is in speaking over others. But the chosen ones know differently. They understand that power is not found in constant talking, but in knowing when to remain silent and when to speak with precision. There is a reason why in the wild, the most dangerous creatures are not the ones who make the most noise. The predators that strike with the greatest accuracy do not announce themselves. They watch, they wait, they move with precision. It is the same with spiritual discernment. The enemy cannot read a silent mind. Those who seek to manipulate cannot control a person they cannot predict. Jesus himself demonstrated this wisdom. When approached by the Pharisees, who sought to trap him with words, he did not react emotionally. Instead, he would pause. He would ask a question in return. He would answer in a way that exposed their true motives rather than revealing his own. In Luke 20 verses 3-4, when they questioned his authority, he responded, "I also will ask you one thing, and answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or of men?" His response put them in a position where they had to reveal themselves. This is the power of silence. It shifts the focus back onto those who seek to test you. This is why you prefer to watch before engaging, why you listen before you speak, why you measure a person's actions more than their words. You do not take things at face value because you have seen too much to be fooled by appearances. You have learned that truth is often hidden beneath distractions, that deception is masked with charm, that real intentions reveal themselves in the spaces between words. This ability makes some people uncomfortable. They do not like the way you see through them. They sense that your silence is not emptiness, but depth. They grow uneasy in your presence because they know you are not falling for the illusions they project. This is why they try to pull you into unnecessary conversations, trying to provoke you into speaking when you have nothing to prove. They hope to get you to react, to explain yourself, to reveal more than you intend. But when you refuse to take the bait, when you remain calm and unreadable, you strip them of their power. Have you ever been in a situation where someone kept talking, trying to convince you of something, and the more they spoke, the less convinced you became? That is because their energy was revealing more than their words. The chosen ones do not need to be told the truth. They feel it. They sense when something is off, when words do not align with spirit. This is discernment, a gift that cannot be taught, only refined. In a world obsessed with talking, being an observer is rare. But this gift protects you. It allows you to move wisely, to align with the right people, to avoid unnecessary traps. It keeps you a step ahead, ensuring that by the time others realize what is happening, you are already prepared. This is why your silence is misunderstood, why some fear your presence without knowing why. They sense something different about you, an awareness they cannot explain, a depth they cannot reach. If you have noticed that you prefer to watch before engaging, comment "watch" below. This is your confirmation. You are not passive. You are powerful. You are not slow to speak because you lack intelligence. You are slow to speak because you refuse to waste your words. Your silence is not emptiness. It is wisdom in motion. But there is more. This gift of observation is only one layer of your power. The next sign will reveal an even deeper level of self-mastery. The moment you recognize that protecting your energy is not selfish, but necessary. The fourth sign is that you protect your energy by avoiding drama. You have come to understand that not every battle is worth fighting, not every argument is worth engaging in, and not every person deserves access to your spirit. You do not waste your time in endless debates, gossip, or meaningless conflicts. While they are consumed by distractions, you are focused on elevation. While they chase validation through chaos, you are securing your peace. And when they try to pull you into their storm, you do not resist. You simply walk away, untouched and unbothered. This infuriates them. They thrive off attention. They need your reaction to fuel their existence. When you do not give it to them, when you refuse to entertain their games, it leaves them restless, confused, and powerless. They want you in their world of dysfunction because your presence makes them feel justified in their mess. But when you remove yourself, they are forced to face their own reflection. They can no longer use you as an emotional dumping ground, no longer manipulate you into defending yourself, no longer drain your energy for their amusement. This is why your silence is not just about peace. It is spiritual warfare. In 2 Timothy 2 verse 23, it says, "But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strifes." There are battles that exist only to create more battles. Arguments that have no resolution, only destruction. Conversations that were never meant to bring clarity, only division. And when you engage in them, you are not proving your strength. You are lowering your vibration to match their dysfunction. But the chosen ones have learned a powerful truth. The greatest victories are often won in silence. Walking away does not mean you are weak. It means you have outgrown the need to prove yourself. When you stop explaining, when you stop trying to correct every misunderstanding, when you stop wasting energy on people who refuse to see the truth, you reclaim your power. Have you ever noticed how certain people always seem to be involved in conflict? No matter where they go, drama follows. They argue with one person, then another, then another. They find something to be offended about, something to gossip about, something to fight about, and yet the common denominator in all of their problems is them. These are the same people who want to pull you in, who want to trap you in their web of negativity, because they cannot function without it. But the moment you refuse to engage, the moment you step back and let them self-destruct without you, they lose control over your spirit. This is why they call you distant. This is why they say you have changed, because you no longer entertain what does not serve your growth. You no longer argue just to be heard. You no longer waste time proving yourself to people who have already made up their minds. And that makes them uncomfortable. Jesus himself understood this. When faced with opposition, he did not waste time debating with those who had no interest in the truth. In Luke 23 verse 9, when Herod questioned him with many words, Jesus answered him nothing. He did not argue. He did not defend himself. He did not waste words on a man who had already chosen blindness. This is wisdom. Some people are not seeking understanding. They are seeking control. And the most powerful response to manipulation is silence. You may have noticed that as you have grown, certain people have fallen away. Not because you pushed them away, but because they could no longer feed off your energy. They could no longer use you as a source of drama, as a place to unload their toxicity, as an audience for their chaos. And that is a good thing, because chosen ones are not meant to dwell in dysfunction. You are meant to operate at a higher level, to walk in peace, to move with purpose. This does not mean you avoid every confrontation. There are moments when speaking up is necessary, when setting boundaries requires your voice. But the difference is that you choose your battles wisely. You no longer feel the need to react to every insult, every rumor, every attempt to pull you back into old cycles. You understand that not every invitation to conflict deserves your RSVP. The moment you stop feeding drama with your energy, it starves. The gossip loses its power. The conflict fades into irrelevance. The toxic people find new targets because you no longer respond to their bait. And in this silence, you find something greater than validation. You find freedom. If you have learned to walk away from drama, comment "protect" below. This is your confirmation. You are not weak for avoiding conflict. You are wise. You are not afraid of confrontation. You simply refuse to waste your spirit on what does not matter. Now, this last sign is the most powerful of them all. This is the ultimate way to disarm those who seek to manipulate, provoke, or control you. It is the one thing they fear the most, and yet it is the very thing they will never admit. Let's get into it. Nothing unsettles them more than your lack of reaction. They expect anger, tears, frustration. They expect to see the power they once had over you reflected in your emotions. But instead, they are met with stillness. You give them nothing to feed on. No explanation, no defense, no validation of their attempts to provoke you. And this shakes them to their core. When someone has built their confidence on controlling your reactions, your refusal to respond sends them into turmoil. They begin to question themselves. They wonder if they even mattered in the first place. They replay their words, hoping for a different outcome. They push harder, trying to get the old version of you to return, the version that would have argued, defended, or at least acknowledged them. But by the time they realize you have changed, it is already too late. You have moved on. This is where your true power lies. In Exodus 14, verse 14, it says, "The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." Chosen ones understand that true strength is not found in proving yourself to those who refuse to see your worth. It is in allowing God to handle what you no longer entertain. This is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the realization that your energy is sacred, your peace is priceless, and your growth does not require the approval of those who tried to keep you small. Think about how the enemy works. Manipulation thrives on engagement. When someone seeks to control you, they do so by drawing you into their web of deception. They bait you with accusations, hoping you will defend yourself. They provoke you with insults, waiting for your anger to confirm their importance in your life. They stir up drama, expecting you to fight back, because in doing so, you validate their role in your story. But what happens when you give them nothing? What happens when you do not fight, do not engage, do not even acknowledge their presence? They lose all power. Your silence forces them to face themselves. Without your reaction to distract them, they are left with their own emptiness. They start to feel the weight of their own insecurity, the reality of their own insignificance in your journey. This is why they try so hard to break through your silence. It is why they gossip, hoping you will respond. It is why they create false narratives, hoping you will defend yourself. It is why they try to pull you back into old cycles, hoping you will return to the version of yourself that still sought their validation. But you have outgrown that. There was a time when you felt the need to correct every misunderstanding, to explain yourself to people who had already made up their minds about you, to prove your worth to those who were never capable of seeing it in the first place. But now, you see things differently. You understand that silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. Imagine a battlefield where one side is fully armed, shouting, preparing for war, but the other side stands motionless, unbothered, refusing to engage. That is what happens when you choose silence over conflict. It confuses the enemy. They do not know what to do with someone they cannot provoke. They do not know how to fight a battle that you refuse to participate in. And in that moment you win. Jesus understood this. When he stood before his accusers, when he was mocked and questioned, he did not fight back with words. In Matthew 27 verses 12 to 14, when he was falsely accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Even when Pilate pressed him, waiting for a response, he remained silent. And Pilate marveled greatly. Why? Because silence is unsettling. Silence is power. Silence forces people to confront their own motives, their own guilt, their own emptiness. This is why you no longer react the way you once did. You have stepped into a level of wisdom where you understand that your energy is too valuable to waste. You are no longer available for every argument, every false accusation, every attempt to pull you into negativity. You have elevated above it. Have you noticed how people become more desperate when you refuse to engage? How they escalate their behavior, hoping to provoke a reaction. This is because your silence exposes them. When you do not respond, their manipulation is no longer effective. Their attempts to control you fall flat. They are left scrambling, trying to reclaim a power that no longer exists. This is why they fear your silence. It is why they try to interpret it, analyze it, turn it into something that makes them feel important. But the truth is, your silence means nothing to them. It means everything for you. It means you have freed yourself from the need to explain, defend, or prove. It means you have chosen peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, wisdom over reaction. If you have experienced this, if you have noticed how your silence has unsettled those who once had power over you, comment power below. This is your confirmation. You are stepping into a season where your peace is your weapon, where your lack of response is your strategy, where you no longer seek to be understood by those who were never meant to understand you in the first place. But here's the real secret. Silence is not just a tool of disarmament. It is a doorway to elevation. The moment you master it, you step into a new level of clarity, purpose, and divine alignment. And what comes next will reveal why those who once tried to control you will soon be left watching as you rise beyond their reach. So, watch the next video linked in the description below, because what happens next will change everything. If this message spoke to you, do not ignore it. This is your confirmation. Your silence is not weakness. It is your weapon. It is your shield, your strategy, your power. Let them be confused. Let them wonder. Let them talk while you continue to elevate in peace. Before you go, comment 77 below if you are ready to step into this new level of power. Subscribe for more messages on spiritual growth, chosen one's revelations, and biblical wisdom. Stay silent, stay powerful, stay chosen.